You're standing barefoot in a forest clearing at dawn, and a fox trots past you without a flicker of urgency. No alarm clock woke it, no inbox is waiting. It ate when it was hungry, slept when it was tired, and it will do the same thing tomorrow and the day after that for its entire life. You, on the other hand, haven't had an uninterrupted night's sleep in months. Here's the strange part. The average wild animal spends roughly 2 to 4 hours a day meeting its basic survival needs: eating, drinking, staying safe, while the average human spends over 8 hours a day working just to afford the same three things: food, shelter, and safety. Somewhere along the way, the species that built civilization ended up working harder than the animals it left behind. So, did we actually build a better life? Or did we just build a more complicated one? Wild animals operate almost entirely on what biologists call need-based behavior. A lion doesn't hunt because it's noon. It hunts because it's hungry, and once it's fed, it can rest for up to 20 hours a day, a pattern well documented in long-term Serengeti field studies. There's no residual anxiety about tomorrow's hunt. Human ancestors lived far closer to this rhythm than modern people do. Anthropologist Marshall Salins famously described hunter-gatherer societies as the original affluent society, noting that many foraging groups worked only 3 to 5 hours a day to meet their needs, spending the rest of their time resting, socializing, or simply doing nothing at all. This is why, even now, a completely unstructured afternoon can feel almost uncomfortable to you. Your body still expects the rhythm your ancestors actually lived, not the one your calendar demands. Animals also don't accumulate stress the way humans do, because their stress response is built for short bursts, not long sieges. A gazelle's cortisol spikes the instant a predator appears, and drops just as fast once the danger passes, a pattern researcher Robert Sapolsky spent decades documenting in his studies of primate and ungulate stress physiology. Humans evolved the exact same fast-acting alarm system, but we now leave it switched on for hours, sometimes days, triggered not by lions, but by emails, deadlines, and notifications that never fully resolve. Your body still reacts to a tense meeting the same way a gazelle's body reacts to a predator, except the gazelle's danger ends in 90 seconds, and yours can stretch across an entire afternoon. This is why chronic stress is overwhelmingly a human problem, not a wildlife one. We built a world where the alarm never fully turns off. Sleep tells a similar story. Most wild mammals sleep in fragmented bursts tied to natural light and safety, not fixed schedules. And species like elephants have been recorded sleeping as little as 2 hours a night in the wild, without the chronic exhaustion humans experience on similar schedules, according to sleep researcher Paul Manger's field studies on African elephants. What matters isn't the number of hours, it's that the sleep matches the animal's actual environment and needs. Humans, by contrast, force 8 hours into a rigid nightly block dictated by clocks and work schedules, often fighting our own biology to do it. This is why so many people wake up already tired. We're not sleeping badly because something is wrong with us, but because we're sleeping on a schedule no wild body was ever designed to keep. Social animals also maintain something humans have increasingly lost: constant, low-effort physical closeness. Primates like baboons spend hours a day grooming each other. A behavior researcher, Robin Dunbar, linked directly to bonding and stress reduction, not hygiene. It's touch as maintenance, not as a special occasion. Modern human life, especially in cities, has quietly stripped this out. Physical contact has become something scheduled, occasional, sometimes even awkward, rather than a daily baseline. This is part of why a long hug can feel disproportionately calming to you. You're not overreacting. You're getting a dose of something your body was built to receive constantly, and now receives rarely. Perhaps the biggest difference is the concept of enough. Wild animals don't hoard beyond their needs in any meaningful long-term sense. A wolf pack eats until it's full, and the rest of the kill is left for scavengers. There's no equivalent of a wolf accumulating a surplus it will never use. Humans, since the agricultural revolution roughly 12,000 years ago, have done almost the opposite, building entire economies around accumulation beyond need, according to archaeologist Ian Hodder's research on early settlement storage practices. Once early humans could store grain, they could also store anxiety about not having enough of it. This is likely why the feeling of not enough money, not enough time, not enough success, is such a persistent, almost universal human experience, even among people who objectively have more than they need. The turning point was agriculture, and later, the clock. Once humans stopped following the sun and started following stored food and fixed schedules, life stopped moving at the pace of the body and started moving at the pace of the system. Time became something to manage instead of something to simply pass through. That single shift, from need-based living to schedule-based living, is the root of almost every gap on this list. Animals aren't living a better life. They're living a simpler one, shaped only by hunger, safety, and rest. Humans built something animals never had: meaning, memory, art, connection across generations. But we paid for it with a nervous system still wired for a world that no longer exists. Maybe the goal was never to live like an animal again. Maybe it's just remembering that you still are one.